On a journey, mile markers show your progress toward a destination.
New places to see, new people to meet.
And yet, adulting? It's exciting. And it's hard.
New experiences.
New fears to conquer.
New questions that need answers.
None of us get to the destination on our own. When that destination feels 1,000 miles away, you're not on that road alone.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Westendorf. This is Kella. We're here to talk a little bit about health and God's Word. This is kind of like a dry opening. If you could have been here before, we were talking about oranges and bananas and what's up?
What's up?
Does anybody else remember that? You said it was 9 years ago, I think
9
you
years
looked it
ago.
up?
Yes.
In Sesame Street, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Tell me that you had never heard that before.
Nope.
Okay.
I have never heard that before.
So I'm a little bit older than Kella is, and then a lot of you guys are. But what we wanted to talk a little bit about is health, and this idea of God giving us the bodies that He's given us, and yet we look in a world that struggles with. We're going to talk a lot about fear and anxiety because this is a big part of 18 to 25, but also opportunities and the importance of starting this time of life well. The idea that I've seen a lot of our bad habits, our chosen bad habits, and this is an oversimplification, but they really come to become foundational in our life in these 18 to 25. Yes, you can be born with a predisposition to certain things within our DNA. Certainly our environment and our upbringing impacts those kinds of things, what we had access to in terms of healthy living. That's an impact of poverty. But we come into this 18 to 25, we start really owning who we are and our vision for life, and we have choices that maybe we've never thought about before.
Mm-hmm. Like making dinner?
Like making more than macaroni and cheese.
More.
Or pizza and hot dogs. But that's all a college kid, or when we're young we can afford. Mm-hmm. But we want to talk a little bit about taking care of the gift that God has given us. There's two passages that have come to mind, and in the beginning, God talks to Adam and Eve, and He says, "Fill the earth and subdue it." This picture of don't destroy it, but I want you to be the master over the creation that I've given you. And I would dare say that includes the creation of our bodies. And then you come later on, after sin has entered in the world, Paul is writing, this is in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. He is talking specifically about sexual immorality. So he'll say, flee from sexual immorality. All of the sins a man commits are outside his body, but he who sins sexually sins against his own body. And then you get this piece in here, and we'll talk to Pastor Mike and some of the others about these too down the line. But do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, God's Spirit living inside of us, who is in you, whom you have received from God? That's that picture again of God's grace. We didn't earn it. We didn't pray for it. We didn't make a decision for it. It has been poured out on us by God because of what Christ has done. He then says, you are not your own. Reminds us that we're not the master of our own destiny. You were bought at a price, therefore honor God, and he'll say, with your body. And in the spirit of full disclosure, Kella is actually my health coach. We started working together, I think, 6 months ago, thereabouts.
Yeah.
And it's, at now, for me, in my mid-40s, needing to rethink what I eat, because you have to rethink what you eat, because we're going to talk about this. We wanted to bring in Kella, who is studying health and is a passion for it, but is also on a journey, and just talk a little bit about this. And so let me ask you first, when you hear that idea, fill the earth and subdue it, God wanting us to be the master over the creation, not the destroyer of it, how do you think that might apply to our physical bodies?
Yeah. I feel like it definitely applies to our physical bodies, in the sense that it's a gift that we have our bodies. Everybody's made differently. God made us specifically to be ourselves. There's a reason for that. So I think
Water, by the way, I left all the
Water.
diet soda at home.
definitely lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
That's okay. Just the whole idea of taking care of yourself is very essential for helping the environment, helping the whole world, but also starting like one person at a time.
The idea of honoring God with our body, when you hear that as a young adult, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so honoring...
Particularly in this health idea.
Yeah. A lot of times our health is kind of taught. Like, we're growing up and it's like, mom and dad say, do this, do this, do this. Like, make sure you take vitamins or whatever your parents told you to do.
Eat broccoli.
Eat broccoli. Some people don't like broccoli. And that's
I like
okay.
broccoli if it's got cheese on it.
Yeah, there you go. But so kind of the whole honoring your body, once you become an adult and your parents aren't giving you the decision or aren't telling you what to do, you have this decision of what are you going to do? Like, are you going to hold yourself accountable? You can let yourself go. The freshman 15 exists.
What is that?
That's gaining weight your freshman year. People say it's from the cafeteria food. There are healthy options though. But it's also from like stress and from because you have fries 24/7. Like, you have to be able to stay accountable to yourself. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Freshman 15. I'd heard of that before, and it is a thing, and you do see that change, and it is amazing when we make this jump from being our mom and dad's kid to now having to make decisions for ourselves. We don't think about it oftentimes, this idea that part of a Christian witness is also honoring God with our bodies and in the choices that we make. You and I have talked about the idea that, again, I mean, there's all kinds of different body types. There's all kinds of different metabolisms. Your metabolism is going to change, things of that nature. But there is a conscious choice. God's kind of saying it here. I want you to make conscious choosing of using the gifts that I've given you to their best intent. And so God has given me His grace. He's breathed into me life. Honoring God with my body means I can't have 8 slices of pizza at midnight on 4 hours of sleep. Well, why not? So what I'd like us to talk a little bit about, I'm kind of curious just for you guys too, what are some of the challenges that exist for healthy eating? And we want to talk a little bit about that in this section. We're going to be doing 2 sections on this. We'll take a break in the middle, but I would like to talk about just conscious choosing of healthy decisions, some things that you have learned, both as a college student, young adult, and also now in your young coaching career. Maybe talk to us a little bit about this idea of just being cognizant of what on earth we're eating.
It can definitely be confusing. That's the first thing. Different regulations and different food and packaging, it can all just be overwhelming. So a lot of people go to easy. I can do this quickly so I can eat faster. Just that kind of thing also plays a big part in it. But we all know fruits and vegetables are healthy. We all know drinking water is healthy, but it's actually doing it. You have the choice to have whatever you want. And that's something that you get now. You don't have to sit there and your parents are like, eat that. You can't leave the table till you're done. But actively choosing to pursue a healthy lifestyle is your own choice. Nobody's going to tell you you have to. You might see people online. You might see like your friends or something. Like, everybody's going to be doing something different with their health and fad diets and all that kind of stuff. But taking the time to intentionally be healthy is the best way to choose what's healthy. And I really think that it is most things in moderation. So like you said, like the 8 slices of pizza, like is 8 slices of pizza actually reasonable?
Right.
Maybe.
I have a young son who thinks it is, but
Yeah. Right.
we argue and we say no. But now I'm telling him,
Yeah.
you can't. And his thing is be why. I remember when my brother was in college. I mean, he could still to this day eat an entire pizza, just like that. And you'd be like, well, you can't, but why?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you
like
get to
the
be my
why, and you're
age and
like-
you go,
You're like, I know why now. But,
right. And now it's too late, because you've got diabetes or you've got high, blood pressure or things of that nature. And these decisions, this reality was a decision made back oftentimes when I was in my late teens, early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, I appreciate that again, there's a conscious decision. And if you would argue with us on that right now, and you're pushing back, saying it's not a conscious decision, this is what I have to do. That's part of what we're trying to say is that no, it's a conscious decision. But I want to give some people, all right, I'm in college. I have my exams. I have to work. I've got a significant other. Somehow I got to check in with mom or dad, and I want to be able to have some fun. So I don't have time to eat. So what are some strategies to be able to make sure that I'm eating things that are good with respect to protein, that are not particularly high in saturated fats? What are some alternatives? And we've talked about this. I don't like eating a lot of green stuff, and I have fallen in love again with Honeycrisp apples. They're awesome, and so I now eat one a day, and I haven't been to the doctor for a long time. Just shoulder, but not for other stuff. Give us some healthy foods, some choices that we can make in a space where I don't have the time for this.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the best things that I think have been invented are microwavable vegetables, where you just buy the bag and you stick it in the microwave for 2 minutes and you got vegetables. It's amazing. I use it all the time.
Technology
it's
today.
Crazy.
Yes.
And they're pretty cheap too. It's like
They are.
less than $1 for a bag of vegetables. So that's, I don't know. Somebody can say they don't have 2 minutes, but you got 2 minutes. If you're going to take 2 minutes to look at your phone or something, you can stick that in the microwave while doing that. That's a big way to get your the vegetables.
Yeah.
But also actually kind of being conscious of where you're taking the time to drink water. Water is a really big thing for health, in what I believe. So bringing a water bottle with you, that's a big thing that you can do too, because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
Yes.
If you have a water bottle with you, you're like, oh, well, yeah, you got to drink it because it's there.
Water bottle with me.
A lot of people find if there's straws, they drink it faster too. I find that. I don't know why.
So long as they're reusable straws.
Yes.
We don't want the mat in the ocean.
There we go. Yeah, so having a water bottle with you, that's not a big investment either. And it's also, it's saving the environment too. If you have a reusable one and you just keep refilling it over and over and over again. That's a great tip.
So scheduling water breaks. So I'm in class or I'm at work, I'm at home, putting maybe a reminder on my phone, I wear this chintzy cheap Armatron watch, and the reason why I like it is because it has a snooze function on it, so I can just have it go off every hour, and it reminds me I've got to do something. So reminding people, because water is, and that, early on when we started working together, that turn of water and not being dehydrated or feeling just laggy, definitely made a difference. So the prepackaged vegetables, something that we can microwave that's quick, scheduled water breaks. What are some other foods that are quick, more nutritious than the vending machine options, and maybe the high carb or high calorie, microwavable, whatever?
Yeah. So another good option are granola bars, but you have to be a little bit tricky with what you buy. The best granola bars that you can get are ones that you can actually see the full ingredient. So like there's granola bars that have like the nuts in it and seeds, and you can see it all. It's not kind of just ground up oats. And also not covered with chocolate. I mean, you can have those once in a while, but if that's where you're getting most of your source of energy, just chocolate, I mean, it'll add up over time. But it's your choice.
It's a treat. It's a treat.
It's a treat.
But yeah.
So seeing the actual food is a good indication that it's healthy. Other quick things are fresh fruit. Most fruit you don't even have to do anything with. You can just eat, like apples. You just eat it. Or pears or bananas, you peel it. Oranges, peel it. Just stuff like that. It's really quick to just eat. If you're thinking about getting protein, that one's a little more tricky to have like fast ways to get it. But things like nuts have protein and fat in it. Milk has a little bit of that in it. But you can't just like carry milk around with you all the time. It might not work the best.
No.
But otherwise,
that smell.
Yeah,
It's my milk.
it's my milk.
Yeah.
Things like meat it can be good. You just have to do a little more prep with it.
Yeah.
A good tip that I like to do is just over make things. So I'll buy like a bag of chicken breast and then just put in the oven, all of them at the same time, and then I have like 5.
Yeah.
So then that's like 5 meals.
Right.
And then it's just going to be there. So yeah, it might take a little bit of time now, but then throughout the week, I'll have 5 meals.
Right. The takeaway as we're talking that I'm thinking that we want to make as our exclamation point is there's this idea you're not your own, you were bought at a price, therefore honor God with your body, fill the earth and subdue it, God says early on in Genesis. There's an intentionality that we maybe don't give to this. And I certainly think when it comes to our faith life, God is what's worship really all about? What's the Sabbath all about? You can't do it all by yourself. You can't make yourself holy. That's something that he'll say in Ezekiel. I put the Sabbath in place to remind you can't do all of this. I'm the one who does this for you so that you can be the best of who you are. There's an intentionality to being in God's presence, to being with him, to be in worship. And then there's this idea of intentional living. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. God intentionally put that there so that we had to have relationship. And now take care of the body that you've been given. How long we're going to live on this earth, that's not our decision. But the idea that God's like, take care of this stuff. And here's how. So what I'm hearing you say, and add to it, subtract from it, but
yes.
You have a choice to make with the time that you have. Therefore, within your means, be intentional about choosing healthy eating.
Yes.
And hydration. But it's an intentionality.
It is intentional because nobody's going to tell you to do it. It really comes back to you.
Yeah. So honoring God with your body, it requires us to be intentional and not distracted. That's the kind of the hope that we have for you guys today as you think about healthy eating. When we talk, Kella and I talk next, we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of anxiety in health and eating and some of where that comes from a little bit. So we'll take that on another time, but for now and until then, we hope that you guys have a great day.